Good morning, everybody. Lead workers, or should I say workers of the world. This is a screenshot from Kulex that he posted last week. Looks pretty cool. Um, yeah.
That's a nose gift.
So, this week's progress, separate opacity map was added to the PBR shader family. Now, what this does is it gives you a little bit more control over the blending of decals. So you can have a decal that only affects the normal or only affects the metal roughness occlusion and doesn't affect the color, which is very useful. And this same blending approach is going to be integrated into material painting for normal materials that have just color, normal roughness. It won't make any difference. But if you use a separate opacity map, then it allows you to have those other channels appear without actually modifying the color. So it just gives you a little bit more control and allows you to do some things that weren't previously possible. I added new camera methods, enable post effect and disable post effect, which is more efficient than clearing and adding those in, because some of these post effects they need to create like a rendering, basically an FBO per camera that they're attached to, and so it's a lot more efficient to enable and just to toggle them on and off than to actually like remove them, because when you add a new post effect, if it uses an auxiliary render buffer, then it's going to have to allocate that dynamically, which is ideally not something you want to be doing in real time. A log file was added to the editor, which appears in the same location as the settings. And then the main thing last week was 47 bug reports were resolved. 47. I've never done that many. That means for a total of 730 bugs that have been resolved. And only 45 remain. Only 45 are left. Probably half of them are not really complete, or they probably got fixed a long time ago. And it'll be a little bit hard. It'll take some back and forth to get all the information that I need to fix them. I think I've fixed all the easy ones, and now it's kind of like the pace is going to slow down on some of these, because some of these it will take like a full day or half a day to solve. They're more involved, or some of them are just not. They're just missing information, and so I'm going to be going through all of these again and asking for information if any information is missing, and I'm going to be closing these more aggressively than in the past, because we need to get through these. So if you do have, if I do reply to a report you made, you'll get a notification on the forum, unless you've changed your notification settings. So your participation is very, very much appreciated and helpful as we track down these final remaining issues.
What is the best way to report a bug where you can't like reproduce it easily, but it happens? It happens. Like,
describe it as best as you can.
All right. Yeah, because when you get a little bit too creative with the vertex tool, it crashes. So I'll report that, and I'll report the grid issue that after a while the grid just disappears on you.
Have you seen that happen lately?
Yes, it happens all the time. It's like after like 30 minutes or 45 minutes of just working on something, all my grids, I scroll out and then all my grids disappear and I have to restart the editor.
That's weird. Yeah, that's a really hard one to reproduce. So at this point, I'd like to thank everyone who's left given us a thumbs up on Steam reviews. T-Tiki, Drogowit, The Cuzzy, CapCrunch, MetalOS, Agnologia, Knievils, Ricochet, Andy, Gashish Master, Marcy3D, Gamer, Saru71, Mazel, Timmy, you, Plisa, Gravitate Games, Lilybite, Wreckage, Technofox, Casmic, Doctor Who 3DGX, JDJD Gaming, Reap Blue, Anthony Python, CZX 18888, Edelin Trick, Merrick IJC, Kent, Old Amsterdam, Drake Blacked, Merrick, Project Mayhem, Pedrito, James W. Harden, Troyinator, Altitude, Lucky Luke, Slick29, Gavaris 3, Waxy, and Renha. Thank you all very much. With that, that's all I've got for this week. And next week it's going to be more bug fixes and documentation, and that's all that needs to be done for the full release. So,
Josh, have you thought about stressing out the entire engine to see areas that could be weaker than other areas?
what do you mean by stretching out?
Stressing out, like doing a whole bunch of functions all at one time, making a whole bunch of series, trying to recreate what the other individual talking about crashing, because an engine that's crashing is not ready to be released, I believe. If things are an issue in the general public, it'll be a turnoff.
Well, that's what I'm doing right now. That's what the bug fixes are all about. So I'll just continue to get through those issues in the next week.
Yeah, and then we also have our project that we announced a little bit ago, and we're actually eating our own dog food. So a lot of issues or some features slip through, come in because of that. Also, like the brushed model feature that was added last week. So
Leahy asks, I saw that the Linux section on the forum was removed. Does it mean a Linux version is not to be expected? I removed the forums there was 3 forums. One was for Win32 issues, one was for Linux issues, one was for Mac OS issues, and the reason I did that is because none of it is probably relevant anymore for our current version, and I wanted the forum to be a little bit more focused. I felt like there were too many forums. I didn't want to just have like a ton of forums, so that's the only reason I did that.
Yeah, I know, and people got the impression that we had Mac OS support, and we hardly never did. I think the app kit did, but that was it.
Will you consider, Plisa asks, will you consider adding material painting on models? Yeah, I think this would be a very, a good way to extend that feature. And, yeah, it's not that hard to do. It's mostly just an interface issue because the model geometry already supports it actually. Yeah. I just have like some questions I need to resolve myself. Like, this probably needs to be done both on a global level and on an instance level. Like, you probably want to be able to paint a model in the asset editor, like in the separate model window. You probably want to be able to do that too, because that's a really good way of detailing models. So yeah, I think it's likely that's something that's likely to happen in the next year.
That would be cool if the information can be saved within a prefab also. So you can paint a model just how you like it for a section of the game or whatnot, and just save it and just duplicate it.
Yeah, I think that would work.
Josh, are you going to have a location on your website where games that are created, showing what was created by your engine, and where they can access those games that was created by the user of your product?
Like a featured games section?
Correct, but it would be where as soon as they click, they would have different options to be able to purchase that game according to what their wish of location of purchase would be.
Yeah. So with that kind of stuff, it has to be curated. Because otherwise it fills up very, very quickly. Yeah, it's let's get some games out there, and then I think that's a good idea. Um,
And we have the bundle system too on Steam, which was a success.
Well,
yeah. There's
knowing that a bunch of games is created by your engine will push the engine to be a more productive, among others, that is just looking at your engine on your site and seeing how many different variation of games has been created by your product.
Yeah. Well, the screenshots and the videos do a good job of that. As far as game, you know, you know, as far as games created with the engine, I don't really have any control over that. All I can do is I'm making a game myself, and um, the rest is up to you guys, like what you want to create with it.
Yep.
I'm just trying to get a cheap advertisement for your product with finished and finalized products that's actually on the market that was created by your engine. And then it would enhance others to look at your engine more serious than those that is just examples of what could be created.
Yeah, well, I think with the game that we're doing and the FPS demo, I think that gives people confidence now, for at least the time being. The FPS demo is very high quality and it's very modern, and it demonstrates all the tools and the art pipeline very well.
But
So
it But if the engine produces like close to a number one high demanding game, and then it's created with that engine, a lot more people will be hammering on that engine, wanting it to create similar products for their well being.
well, I
Well,
think
I'm working on it. I'm working on that game.
yeah, yeah, and I think people want to see result of quality versus the amount of games, because Legworks had a lot of small games, but didn't have like a number one like top seller. I don't think, but it had like a lot of unique games, and Legworks is very popular. Not within its scope.
Correct, but there's been many companies that has released many different type of games that was not in high demand, and then they hit a game that they created that hit like where everyone wants. It is a hit and miss. You'll have mass number of games that is people wants them, but not in a high demand, and then there's going to be that special games series of games that was created by the users that's actually hitting high demands that would highlight the actual engine that's creating such gems as what will be released.
Yeah, I mean, right now we just gotta prove to the developer that the engine's capable. I mean, Josh has got to do this. I'm not an engine developer, but I think that's what this engine has to do, is just prove to the developer, hey, yes, you can make your game, you can make your shooter, you can make your RPG, you can make whatever you want with these tools.
Well, there's not going to be. I mean, it's still in early access right now. There's not going to be any games like
Yeah,
when it launches.
right. And you got that too. So we just got our FPS demo as a
I, I am talking a very short time after the official release and where games are being created in the masses, and then having the gems of those games highlighted on your site so that it actually shows that it's a high quality product that should be invested in by those that's developing games for them to have a chance to have a gem of their own created by that product.
well. I think we could do game jams. I mean, we did in the past.
Yeah, those were very very popular.
Yeah.
Actually,
Well,
yeah, I actually want to like participate this time because I have some like things that I'd like to make that I don't want to do like a full game with it, but I just want to like I'm sure I can program pretty much any game, like the basics of any game within like 30 days.
yeah. Especially now, since you can just download things off like Sketchfab and MCG. Like the import and process is very streamlined, and the tools are really good. You can make LODs and everything now, and you can the editor is really good. Has really good support for all formats and has a lot of tools built in to make life easier. So yeah, I mean,
Well, everything I'm saying is just a suggestion. Don't take it to heart if it's gongs in the wrong way. I'm just trying to help to get a focus so that whatever area that you want to engage in, that at least the idea was placed out there.
Yeah,
yeah,
I have no objection to like having a featured games section on the website. Plisa asks, how far along in your game, guys? Nothing has been announced at this time. There are no further announcements at this time.
yep.
That's all I got to say about that. I don't know nothing.
Okay, Sergeant Schultz.
Yeah, I know nothing. I see nothing. I hear nothing. I know nothing.
Yep.
Okay, so I've just got another week of bug fixing and documentation ahead of me. Anything else?
Uh, nope. It's when do you expect full release now, based on
I don't know.
everything?
When do you expect it?
Yeah, maybe spring.
Well, yeah, I'd say spring is a safe bet. I mean, I don't know if it's 4 weeks or 6 weeks or what, but
Eh, what's an extra few weeks in the oven? At this
That's
point.
why, yeah, that's why I suggested the stress test to make sure before it's released 1.0.0 that at least everything that could be done to it has been done to it so that any issues has already been addressed. Maybe shortly after 1.0.0, it'll be 1.0.1, but the errors will become less if it's already stressed before the full release.
well, that's what we're doing, and the documentation serves as all the little examples in there serve as unit tests. Leahy asks, will Linux support come with 1.0.0? Hee hee. He's laughing because he knows the answer is no. Um, yeah, I might do like a small Kickstarter for Linux support, just because it's a good way to see like how much interest there is out there. I don't think
Yeah.
Linux support will be very hard to add, and Windows 10 is going away in October, I believe. So that's another reason why we would want Linux. We would want Linux support.
There'll be no security update after the 25th of October of this year.
Yeah,
So
that's what I mean.
it is being sunset as of 25th of October. You're either going to have to upgrade to Windows 11 or buy the machines that can handle Windows 11 or change over one of the other operating systems that's out on the market.
Yeah, so and Linux has gotten quite a lot better. Back when I first started dealing with Linux, it was quite awful. And both Linux has gotten better, and I've also learned to not rely on all the intermediate libraries that are written by clowns in the Linux world. There's no nice way to say that. Like, it's junk. GTK is junk. And the Qt cult. They try to like bully you into adopting that thing, And then that you find, I think there's like some major like licensing strings with Qt. I mean, it's free, but it's not.
Right?
But yeah, those Qt people are extremely aggressive. I do not like them. Fortunately, we don't have to deal with all these clowns. And I mean, they're terrible software developers. So I wrote, what started with Ultra App Kit. I replaced the whole GUI system with our own because all the intermediate like GUIs out there were terrible. And that basically I eliminated all the dependencies we had on this joke software, and the new version is going to run when it does run on Linux. It'll be like a really high quality, very nice, good result.
I'm interested to see the performance difference between a game running on Proton and game native. Like,
I don't know. I have no idea. GTK standards is spaghetti code. Well, the problem with GTK is it's for some bizarre reason it's asynchronous. I haven't dealt with it in like a long time, so I might not be remembering exactly right. But like if you set like a value of like which item is selected by a combo box, it that action has to circulate through the event system and come back before you can retrieve it. So if you set a value and then retrieve the same value, it's not the value that you just set. I have no idea why they would do this unless they were like, I think it's some like client server architecture that like from the 1970s or something. But it makes absolutely no sense. So that like actually dealing with all the issues of GTK, that was what ate up the majority of that was by far the majority of the problems with LeadWorks for Linux. Other than the GUI for the editor, LeadWorks for Linux ran very, very well, very smoothly. It was just these things like code blocks and GTK that just ruined the user experience. That's all such junk. So we replaced we replaced GTK with my own user interface, which is awesome if you've tried Ultra App Kit on Linux. And we replaced code instead of code blocks. I mean, you can still use any IDE you want, but it's set up to use Visual Studio Code, which is quite good. But it still has like a make file, so I mean you can use it with whatever you want. But yeah, I think this time around our Linux support will be much better, and we won't be because I won't be building on such a garbage foundation.
Yeah. Very exciting. One thing we have to test though is BR. Again, make sure everything's working in BR land.
Now, LeadWorks 4.6, it'll also run fine on Ubuntu 12.04. Unfortunately, Ubuntu made a transition from 32-bit to 64-bit that was not completely seamless. And then, for some reason, like the open file dialog past Ubuntu 12.04 just started crashing for some reason. I don't know why, but at that point, like my motivation to keep pouring more time into that was quite low. Another advantage is that the new editor is written in just C++. LeadWorks 4, the engine is written in C++, but the editor is written in Blitzmax. And Blitzmax is a very cool language, but it was somewhat limited, and there was sort of an opaque layer in between the editor code and the engine code, and it only had a 32-bit compiler, so that was quite difficult. That's why LEDWorks, the editor, is a 32-bit application, and the new engine is a 64-bit application only.
I just checked Blitzmax. They have a 64-bit version now.
Well,
Shipped or sale.
yeah.
I'm just putting out information.
Yeah. I guess that they've done some interesting things with it since then. I think Brucey, that guy Bruce Henderson, I think is his name. I think he kind of took it over. Yeah, so that's all we got going on this week. And next week it'll probably be more of the same. Got to get through the last remaining 45 bug reports. 730 down. Do we have anything else before we go?
Nope.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in for our live developer chats as we finish up our new game engine and bring it to full release out of early access within probably a few weeks, certainly less than a few months. So it's getting pretty close now. So thanks for joining. Video will be available on YouTube later today.
Yep. Bye.